You good?
Okay.
Sweet, go.
So we had humor and kindness.
Okay.
And humor. Start with humor. You want to do okay? So humor is talking about how laughing is most contagious out of, what did that say? Most contagious of emotions, and that how you can't fake laughter, and how humor gets you on a whole nother level with a person that like you just like that person, you know, because they're funny and they make you laugh. I was thinking about how like with humor, like how I do humor, and it's funny because it's very circumstantial to me if I can be humorous or not, you know, like if I don't know anybody, I can totally be humorous. I don't care, like I don't know them, you know. But like if I know them but I'm not comfortable around them, I can't even try to be funny. Like I know I'll just fail. And not in a funny way. You know, like I don't know. Anyways, but if I'm comfortable, then I can like joke and make fun and stuff. I think it's a very, very valuable value that people have, because like it can make life not so boring, or you know, it spices it up a little bit.
And if you do have humor, then you can make other people feel more comfortable in a certain situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if you don't know them, but like people will remember not what you said, but how you made them feel in the long run. But if you can make them feel happy and joyous, then they're going to want to be around you. The part that I really liked in the humor section was the fact that it said whether you succeed or you fail, or you might fail or succeed, but in both cases you enjoy what you're doing. It's like if you can laugh at yourself, you can like trip, you know, no reason whatsoever, you just trip, and like as long as no one saw you, you know, it's pretty funny. even if people do see you, you're just like, oh, I'm an idiot. But no, it's just true. Then we talked about kindness, and the first line really struck me, and I am going to work on this. It says the power of kindness is the power of treating others better than they sometimes deserve. And I think that's a good lesson for anyone to learn, because how easy is it to be a jerk to someone who's a jerk to you? It's just your natural response, knee-jerk reaction. Jerk, huh? But sorry, thanks. But if you're kind to someone who's a jerk to you, then it takes a lot of self-control, and I think it takes a willingness to be vulnerable and to kind of like accept the hurt that they're throwing off. But eventually they'll understand that like how fun is it to fight with someone who doesn't want to fight back? It's not fun at all. Yeah, like and then they just get angry, but eventually their hatred or their anger will burn out, and then they'll just give up. This is my experience, at least, with people. I guess what I'm trying to say is, by being kind to someone, you can help them become kind in return, and you can help them feel love. And like, I'm not the most deserving of kindness, and I know that. But when people do show kindness to me, I can't help but feel love towards them. And so it just kind of like helps pull on other people's walls and your own walls as well, and then you have a mutual symbiotic relationship.
What I got from the kindness section is there was a section that's like, kindness must be genuine. And I think that is especially important in life, but especially important as being a mentor, because you can totally tell when people are being fake, and they're just like, you know, they may not want to be kind to you, or they don't really care, you know. And if you and in being a mentor, especially, like, you're trying to help that person, or at least trying to help that person, you know. And if they don't trust you because you're being fake to them, then it's not going to work out. So you should always try to be genuine.
Awesome. Thank you. Kelsey Mohammed, you want to explain the next?
Sure. Alright, so we picked focus and service. And focus, it says in the book, the ability to focus is the ability to forget worries and concentrate your consciousness on the present situation. And I I suck at focusing, obviously. But like with Rob came over and talked, and he said basically just living every day in the moment. And that's pretty much what it is. And then service, the book says, the power of service is the power to improve the world. And then it says a little bit more about if you value service, you see problems as opportunities to contribute to the well-being of others and society as a whole. And then if you do service, you pretty much just like better, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
My opinion about the service, we have to develop the world by, we have many things to do, like to be a volunteer or to join any other society to develop the world as they need, or in case like this, we have to develop in this situation, we have to put many things to do as a group. We have to join a group.
There's lots in the world that can be done. There's lots of things that we can do to help. Perfect.
So our first one was responsibility. And the book says it's the power of responsibility is the power to accept the circumstances in your life as you created them. So basically, to know when to put the blame on yourself. It's easy to continue to blame others for your problems. And actually, I was just talking with Tyson about just simply ordering this book. Because the bookstore told me to order a different book, which I have, and I've been reading, but it's the wrong book. But the syllabus clearly says this book. So I was blaming the bookstore, like, oh, those jerks. But at the same time, a little of the blame has to be on me for not reading that part of the syllabus to say, order this book. And so I think that's an example of responsibility and taking on that responsibility, but also be careful to not take on too much responsibility to overwhelm yourself, and also realize that responsibility can be perspective. My responsibilities around the house could be completely different than my wife's, how my wife views my responsibilities around the house. Hopefully you can communicate that, but it does happen where so I guess my question would be is who's right in that situation when you have two totally different types of view on responsibility? How do you determine the right one?
Dan's raising his hand. Is there
Why does there have to be someone who's right?
Because that's what society has taught us.
That was my thought.
Okay, do you agree with what society is teaching you? In that vein?
Probably not, because there's probably not a right or a wrong.
The more I have experienced life, the more I see my own weaknesses and mistakes, and the more I learn that as soon, especially in a relationship, that you try to find who is right and who is wrong, it's not a good path to go down. Not a healthy one anyway, because it's a blame game, or it can easily turn into a blame and shame game, and that's just not healthy for any relationship, and definitely invites contention and and walls to be put up. And it's just not a healthy place to be or to go.
From what I've seen, we'll hop over to you. From what I've seen in my life with relationships is there's a right, and a right answer. So there's a right answer where it's my 100%, this is what I think is right. My wife's what she thinks is right. And then what we come together and determine together what is right. And it's different usually. And it's usually a mix of the two is what is our right answer. And so in any type of relationship, you're gonna have to understand that, because if you don't, you'll have lots of no, I'm right type of arguments and contentions.
I guess it's a little bit different in a relationship. But I just remember hearing this phrase on my mission. It's not who is right, but what is right, sort of thing. And I think if you take yourself out of the context, and like it might not be your idea that's right, because oftentimes we're wrong. But if you focus on what is right, not necessarily who is right, you kind of sidestep the emotion, as Covey says. You sidestep your own emotion, and then you don't get hung up on that, and you guys can focus on the objective. But I really like your my right, her right, and then the right thing. Yeah.
It's nice to understand. You want to say something, Tyson?
And I think responsibility is kind of it has two sides to it. I think you have the good side of the responsibility, where you're like, oh, you're responsible for this, you're the wrong person, and all this stuff. But with responsibility, you also have the good side of the coin. You have the spot where you're just like, okay, us together or me dependent, depends on the situation. But I have the opportunity. I have the opportunity and the ability to act independently and make the decisions that are proper to get the results I'm looking for. And that's kind of that's what we need to have responsibility be, is it has to be a good set, it has to be a good thing. Because if it's a bad thing, if it's like, oh, you're responsible for this, why didn't you do that? If it's something like that, it's not gonna get us anywhere. But if it's bringing us together, like you said, and if it's giving us that opportunity and ability, then it isn't